was, well, who was it that liked him? Was it the internet woman, or was it the girl I worked with? I think it might have been the girl I worked with. My previous job before this one, I worked at the Carl's Jr. down there for 9 years, and there was a
personnel.
Yeah, okay. And there was a girl there I worked with for several years, and we were pretty good friends. We're still in contact online rarely. I talked to her a few days ago, and that was the first time I talked to her in about a month. And I think it was her that, I had a crush on her for like 2 or 3 years, and I think it was her that liked him.
What did you do at Carl's Jr. for 9 years?
Cashier. They offered me management a long time ago, but I just didn't want it. Didn't want the responsibility for basically no extra money. And, so I was mainly a cashier, usually in the drive-thru.
Why did you leave Carl's Jr.?
Because it was low pay, and I'd been there for 9 years and was sick of it. And I got, my dad found me this better job. So
better pay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, going back to the plan, you had the handcuffs and the duct tape.
Yeah, so what I was going to do is I was going to, like I said, yank them in there, restrain them, and if it was a kid, I was going to just make them sit there and watch some porn first, and then I was going to have sex with them. And then...
Were you going to try to turn them on with the porn and make it voluntary?
I was, kind of hoping that would happen, but I, figured it probably wouldn't.
So you assumed that you would have to do it by force?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
And then, after the sex, it would turn kind of violent. I'd start kind of torturing them a little and stuff like that.
How would you torture them? In your fantasies, what would you do?
Sticking large objects in their anus, causing them pain that way. I had some long barbecue skewers I bought. I was going to poke through their cheeks. I've got in that bag of porn, there's also a Barbie doll head I found on the ground a while back that I stuck some needles in. Kind of illustrates what was in my fantasy. It had like some needles in its cheeks and some nails in its eyes, but I wasn't intending on doing that because the torture was kind of a late addition because at first I wanted the body to be pretty much unharmed. Because what I was going to do after that then was I was going to, while they were still alive and gagged, I was going to drape them over the bathtub and cut off their head. And then hang them there and let the blood all drain out, good and drained out. And I was going to keep the body around for a couple of days. I was going to set the head on my desk so it could watch me. And, keep the corpse in my bed, sleeping with it, having sex with it for a day or two, and then I was going to start butchering them and cooking them. So,
okay. Did you buy any pots or any special things for that?
Just the barbecue skewers and some meat tenderizer powder, and hacksaw to cut open the head to get to the brain because I wanted to eat the brain and the heart and some of the organs.
It's been my experience that a lot of people who like or think about those kind of things maybe experiment with animals. Have you ever experimented with animals?
No, I told the guy earlier, in fact, this, like I've said, this is just entirely against my nature. And if, I told him I'm not really religious, but what beliefs I do have would be pretty much best described as Buddhist. And I didn't even like stepping on bugs. I didn't believe in violence or anything until this happened.
Okay.
So.
Now, after you chopped the head off and maybe cooked them, could you continue on from there?
Then it went into, disposing of the body. I was probably going to keep the skull. But then, I was going to pretty much eat everything except for some of the organs, and those I figured I could, put it in a trash bag and probably throw away without too much chance of getting caught. So basically all that'd be left was bones. And I was going to try to, break the bones up into little pieces so they wouldn't be as visible and, dump them in a ditch somewhere.
Okay.
Or if, then Well, that was my original plan. That's what I wanted to do, but, you know.
Now, did you ever write any of this down on your computer?
No.
Because you know they're going to go through your computer really good.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I already deleted, like, as soon as, I never had anything wrote down, but I already deleted a lot of the porn and stuff off my computer.
After this happened?
Yeah, as soon as, like, the cops, you know, started sniffing around, like,
Asking.
because all the porn's there, but I had a lot of, in the last couple of months, I'd been to a bunch, you know, there's a lot of websites out there where you can download, like, crime scene photos, like real dead bodies and stuff like that,
Right.
and I had a fairly large collection of those. I deleted, like, all of those.
Okay.
And I never had any child pornography, and it might still be on there because I think I put it in a different directory than the rest of the porn. I had just a couple, like 4 or 5 pictures I downloaded from like a children's swimwear catalog of like 10-year-old girls in swimsuits. But that's close as I ever had to like any child pornography or anything.
Do you I'm sorry, do you have anything on your computer, that you sure that you destroyed that stuff? Or did you just go delete off the reset? Could still be a burn on your hard drive.
Yeah, they say none of that's permanent unless they claim there's programs now that can make it permanent. But no, all I did was dragged it to the trash bin and hit empty trash bin, so it can most likely be recovered probably.
Okay, you didn't go. I forgot what it's called. It starts with an N, but there's a certain program that if you use that you can really wipe stuff out.
Yeah,
but you didn't go through that trouble.
There's programs like that all over. I see advertised, but no, I don't have any of those.
Okay, they're going. If they heard about this, they're really going to pull this stuff up. When did you think you first started downloading this kind of stuff? Because they're going to know for a fact.
Yeah, well, the cannibalism thing started probably a year or so ago. Might have been while I was on the medication the first time, but I'm not sure. I don't think so, but it might have been.
Now, Kevin, for the record, you're currently taking your medication, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you take it today?
Yeah.
And you say it works for you?
It doesn't really help with the anxiety. I'm still shy, and I still can't really talk to people. But I don't have like the panic attacks, and I don't get depressed about not having a social life.
Well, are you aware of your actions and fully in understanding of what you're doing?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so
But
cannibalism.
I think it might have maybe lowered my inhibitions a little or something like that.
Maybe you might have had.
He recognizes what you're doing as being against the law.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, is there any questions that you have about that?
No, I know what I did was wrong, and I know that I deserve to be punished for it.
So the deal with cannibalism may have been as long ago, but
yeah, but I mean, it wasn't something I was. I mean, I was kind of interested in, kind of curious as to what it would taste like, and it kind of aroused me, and I kind of masturbated to some of the pictures because I mean, there was this website I found, I don't even remember what it is now, where you could download lots of like fake computer graphic images of like women on spits and stuff like that, and cooking over a fire or whatever.
And you found it sexually arousing?
Yeah, very. But it was the thought of killing someone, though, at the same time. It was, in my mind, it was like, well, I'd only do it, if the woman, wanted to die and wanted me to eat her.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, go out and kill someone. Murder's wrong. I wouldn't ever murder someone.
Okay.
That's the way I thought at the time.
Okay.
But I've been surfing internet porns for probably 12, 13 years, and there's a lot of weird stuff on the internet, and so as the years went by, I just kind of got kind of desensitized to normal porn, and just had to keep going after like harder and harder core stuff until it finally got to kind of this cannibalism point. And then here recently after that, I started to kind of seriously think about it, and develop an interest in these pictures of real death and cannibalism and
have you ever read
gore and gruesome things. And
have you ever read psychology books or internet sites, and just out of curiosity, reading about people with like interests, or to say, hey, somebody like me who, likewise people who would get sexual gratifications out of possible cannibalism, or viewing women on spits or things like that?
That site, yeah, that I downloaded like all the fake pictures from, it was a message board mostly, and it was mostly text, but people would, it's like, here's this picture I made with my computer. And it was, so it was all like people with the same interests, and, pretty much, probably 95% of them, from what they said on there anyway, were of the same mindset as me. I would never do this, but it's fun to fantasize about.
It's a fun fantasy. Yeah.
It's it's an interesting fantasy that gets me off, but I would never kill anyone, and given the chance, I would probably not ever actually eat someone. Was most of their opinions.
So you would masturbate if you to this fantasy of a cannibalization, like seeing a woman on a spit or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. When did it first enter your mind that yes, I'm going to do this today?
Well, not today, but
I'm sorry. When
you mean that day? Well,
that Wednesday.
And what day was that for the record?
Wednesday.
You know what day of the April, or what are we, April?
Yeah, this is the 14th, so it had been, the 11th? Yeah, it was
Friday the 14th, Thursday the
13th, Wednesday the 12th, yeah. I'm bad with dates.
Well, I didn't understand. Wednesday the 12th?
Yeah.
Do you know for sure it was a Wednesday?
Yeah, it was definitely Wednesday, because I'm off on Wednesday, and I was off work that day.
Okay. Go ahead.
Did you plan it for your day off?
It was, well, I'd been planning it, like I said, I'd been planning it for months, buying supplies, and, trying to get the exact plan down of what I do and how I dispose of it afterwards.
And the exact victim.
And, well, like I said, I kind of wanted her, but it didn't really matter. I mean, that's to tell the truth, that's the main reason I was hanging out in front of my apartment, is to watch all the kids and watch all the people come and go. And it was, I had pretty much planned all along to probably get a kid, just mainly because they'd be easier to grab and easier to get rid of afterwards, smaller, and, put up less of a fight. But there was a few, girls my age, I'd be like, well, she's really attractive. I wouldn't mind, killing and eating her and having sex with her and all that. But,
did you find her attractive?
Not really, no. She was kind of homely. But that was a part of me that, kind of found her attractive, but at the same time, not really.
What did you mean by homely?
Well, I don't know, she just had, she was almost bald. She had, really thin hair, really thinning hair. And
what color was it again?
Light red. It was almost a blondish red. And, she was a little chubby, and, just kind of wasn't my type, basically.
And you said again, you thought, how old was she?
I would have sworn she was at least 12, maybe 13.
So you were pretty confident you knew she was a kid. I mean, there wasn't any question.
Yeah. I mean, some of the kids that when I was first thinking about it, I was looking at it, 5-year-old boys running around out there playing all day. So I mean, the age and the gender didn't really matter to me.
Now, when did you come up with Wednesday would be the day?
Basically, the instant it happened. I mean, I said there was plenty of times before that I could have grabbed her if I wanted, or grabbed some other kid, but especially her, because like I was saying, she got to where she talked to me, and she'd actually been in my apartment a couple of times before that. She'd come down, because one time I was standing out there with my pet rat, holding it and had it on my shoulder, and she thought it was cute and she wanted to pet it. And then later that evening, I still had my front door open, but I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and she just kind of wandered into my apartment and said, "Can I pet your rat?" So she seemed like a very trusting kid.
How long ago that was, to put it in perspective for me?
Week, maybe two, probably about a week. But she was a very trusting kid. If it hadn't been me, it could have ended up being someone else. 'Cause